Hello, and welcome to my presentation on my interview with Chuck Baker, the school librarian at my school, Southwest Edgecombe High School. My name is Keith Parker, and for the next couple minutes, I would like to share with you some of the things that Chuck and I discussed in my interview with him. Southwest is going through several changes this year, and one of those is redesigning the purpose and capacity of our library studies department, our media center. And really, Chuck is working as the head librarian to bring our media center back to what it used to be, as he refers to it as a hub of learning school where students come to interact with resources, materials, development, help, support that our department can give them. So if you would, take a couple minutes here and I'm going to share with you some of our findings. One of the things that has been a change for our library at Southwest, and certainly I think school libraries across the country, is students do not engage with printed resources like they did 5 to 10 years ago. And we have an ample supply of books, of encyclopedias, of resource materials, research materials in our library, but students don't interact with those printed materials like they did in the past. And so one of our challenges has been how to effectively use our one-to-one laptop program and continue to have students interact with our library. And using the one-to-one has meant that students have the ability to do research and collect data within the classroom. And so what we want to do is, and Chuck wants to do as head librarian, is bring students back into the library. And I think one of the things that he realizes is to get that to happen is going to require our library to be more than just a collection of resources. It's going to have to be a place where librarians and other students and teachers can interact and help facilitate learning and instruction, almost where it can be a resource center versus just a collection of materials. So to help facilitate that, we have upgraded some things in our library this year, adding new desktops and tablets, and a host of resources from a research center that can help students get feedback on papers. We have a district mandate for our high schools in Edgecombe County that each student will write a research paper in each class. And so that has meant now that the library can be a resource center to help and provide in some of that, to provide some of that support for that research paper initiative. Here are some photographs that were taken last year at an event I hosted for the AP program. This was an AP symposium, AP US History Symposium, on a presentation that about 22 students presented on research they had collected, a 10-page paper they had written, and then a presentation they prepared that ultimately they gave to a panel of judges. It was almost sort of a local history day, modeled after History Day in a certain degree, but the symposium was on a comparative analysis of reformers, and students chose a progressive era reformer from the early 1900s, compared that reformer and their reforms to a modern day contemporary reformer that they were looking at. And we chose purposefully to hold this in our library, and I think one of the reasons we did that was to first of all, the atmosphere was just perfect for it. But then these type of events are things that we realize will be important to have in our library to transform it from, again, that collection of resources to a hub where a lot of things are going on. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot of engagement going on in the library. And I think these kinds of things are going to be things we see with Chuck's leadership that will help make our library more engaging again. Chuck Baker was a middle school English and social studies teacher before he became a school librarian. He has an idea of what it means to engage students in research. He has an understanding of curriculum standards, and I think he works very well with our teachers to provide them resources and support. And one of the things that's been great about Chuck is he is not a librarian that is territorial. And in fact, he's quite the opposite. And he invites teachers and students to come into the library and to use its resources and to take full advantage of what's going on. And certainly does not limit any facet of what we have in our library, but in fact encourages students and teachers to take advantage of anything that we have to offer. And one of the things that's been good about his role is he is very helpful in facilitating instruction for teachers and is very willing to be a part of anything they might need him to do. We sat down and spoke, and I asked him several questions, and we had a great discussion on some topics that are included in my paper. But I think one of the things that is unique about Chuck is he really does have a vision for where he wants to take our library, and really a process of how to get us from where we are to where he wants to take us. But one of the things that we're currently doing, and Chuck is working with resources to make this happen, is engaging students in our library. That is a crucial theme of the paper and in our discussion. One of the things Chuck is working on implementing now is an ebook program where students during their free time, either during lunch or during PBIS reward days or during power lunch, can come in and read magazines and books through an ebook program we have on a series of tablets. And this has been something that Chuck has wanted to do to bring students back into the library to be able to access reading. And really our discussion highlighted the fact that we understand, and Chuck does, that our library is going to be crucial to promoting literacy, and our district's literacy plan is very comprehensive, and I think our library can play a role, as well as Chuck believes this, that we can encourage reading, we can encourage literacy, and we can encourage students to understand and engage them in this concept that learning can take place in many ways, in different ways, but a common way that it happens for everybody is through reading. And I think that is really going to be a crucial theme of where we head with the library. But this ebook program, I think, has been a great step in that. We have partnered with College Foundation and have implemented this year a College Works initiative to all grade levels. And for 9th and 10th graders, the College Works initiative is really about promotion and information to help inform students about college access and opportunities and the importance of maintaining GPA and SAT scores and those kinds of things. And for 11th and 12th graders, the College Works Initiative has really been a program to help facilitate and provide resources on applying to college and seeking scholarships and grants. And we have hosted several of these sessions with students in our library, and we have a section of our library dedicated and devoted just to college work. So again, that is another thing that we're doing to include a more interactive and engaging environment in our library. We've recently gone through some major upgrades at Southwest. One of those has been a improved wireless system that we've had. We do have a one-to-one program, laptop program, and I can remember when the program was implemented 4 years ago, it was a common thing. If multiple students were accessing the network at the same time, the internet would severely lag. We couldn't have anybody on the network when we were doing statewide testing online because the testing kind of ate up all the bandwidth, and it was really a problem in terms of access. But we have come a very long way, and we have a very accessible network today with download speeds sometimes ranging up to 40 megabytes and then upload speeds sometimes near that as well, but anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20 megabytes. And that really has been a big improvement in terms of the one-to-one program. But in terms of our library, we use the one-to-one program obviously with students, but we have recently upgraded our desktops in the library. All of our computers, even the one-to-one Dell laptops, are running Windows 7. And then, of course, we have iPads that can be checked out in the tablet program for the ebook initiative, which I mentioned earlier. But one of the things that we want to do is use these resources and these opportunities like the AP Symposium, like the College Works initiatives, like the research paper facilities and resource center. We want to use those things to draw students back into the library with the ultimate goal of getting students engaged in reading something, from a magazine to research that they might be using on a paper, to reading a book, a fiction or nonfiction book. But all of these are goals that we want to ultimately have students accomplish, and that is literacy, getting students to read. And I think it's not as clear cut as it used to be, and I think to get students to access literacy and literature through our library, it's going to take creative ways. Some of the things that we're doing, and certainly more that we can do, but I think these are all things that we're doing that are steps in the right direction to be able to get students involved and engage in our library again. This concludes my presentation. I'd like to sort of end with a couple of my own personal comments about the future of our library at Southwest. It continues to be a challenge for public school libraries to adapt and evolve in a timely fashion in coordination with the changing role of the school library. The integration of technology, the role of the librarian now as a media coordinator involved in so many other roles besides just that of librarian and working with literacy and students has meant that school libraries now serve multiple functions, and sort of my worry is that by serving multiple functions, sometimes we can go in several directions and do many things but not do one thing well. And what I would like to see, and I think we're going to see with Chuck's leadership as our school librarian, is sort of a return to promoting literacy and engaging students in material, printed material, and electronic reading material, which is, I think, really the function of a school librarian, to assist teachers and students in the learning process with those materials. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation, and if you have any questions, please email me with the email that I provided in the description box below.